When I'm waking up, I'm doing the exact same sequence of events every single day for as long as I can and trying to be consistent in the process. Now, honestly, it doesn't always happen like that. And that's just honestly because I'm a human being and don't always get it right every single time, but the intent is always there. I will say that I do get it most of the time, but I'd be lying if I said I did this every single day consistently, no errors at all. That's just not accurate. That doesn't happen. But the intent is always there. I am always striving to get that every single day. And the more I strive, the more I practice, the more I refine my morning routine, the closer I get to a consistent and repeatable pattern. So why do we even have morning routines? What's the significance of morning routines? Why am I making this video telling you guys about my daily process? Let's take a step back. The reasons why you want to have a morning routine is because it sets up structure in your day early. And if you can start with structure, you're more likely to carry out structure throughout the day. It helps us accomplish tasks that we consider to be important for ourselves. So if morning routines are so beneficial, why do you constantly fail to do it? Why do you constantly fail to accomplish it? You'll plan the night before, I'm going to make breakfast, go work out, meditate. But when the morning comes, you hit the snooze alarm for 15 minutes, it turns into 30 minutes, turns into 45 minutes, and eventually you are rushing out of the door on your way to your destination in a scramble and your brain is scattered. We often fail to be consistent with our morning routine because we don't have our priorities straight. We tend to value comfort because we've just gotten done sleeping 6, 7, 8 hours. We've been comfortable that whole time. Our body is used to that state of comfort. The law of inertia says objects at rest tend to stay at rest. Getting up out of bed is uncomfortable. Getting up and going to work out, even more uncomfortable. So when it comes to the morning, you wake up, you think to yourself, oh man, that felt so good. Let me do some more of that. You hit the snooze button, you roll back over, you keep sleeping, but you're not getting anything done. We know deep down that those extra minutes really aren't doing that much. You don't feel any different. If anything, you hit the snooze button, you wake up feeling more groggy than when you did when the original alarm sounded. If you have your priorities straight, that is the key to a successful and consistent morning routine. So define those priorities, understand what's important to you, and understand what you want to get out of a morning routine. Because if you're just doing it to do it, you're not gonna keep up with it. But if you have a reason why you want to do it and you have an idea of how it will benefit your life and how it will help you grow as a person, you're much more likely to be consistent with your routine. So how can we develop a morning routine that we can not only be consistent with, but a routine that's going to give us that deep sense of gratification that allows us to accelerate into the rest of the day? So I'm gonna give you guys 5 steps for how I developed my morning routine. First, your nightly routine. So any good morning routine, and anybody who has a solid morning routine will tell you this, it begins with a good routine the night before. What are you doing the night before to set yourself up for a successful day the next day? What does your night look like? Are you going to bed at the same time, or are you just going to bed when you feel like it? It's going to make a difference. So there's a couple things that I do the night before to make sure that I have a successful morning routine the next day. One of those things is laying out my clothes for the next day. That's usually my gym clothes and the clothes that I'm going to wear when I'm going to the hospital, usually scrubs or slacks and a button-up shirt or something like that, depending on which kind of hospital day it is. The next thing I do is I fill up my water bottle. I have a 1 liter water bottle, it's right here. My water bottle is a 1 liter water bottle. Or actually no, it's 40 ounces, so it's more than a liter, 40 ounce water bottle. I fill this whole thing up. Usually every morning I drink about half of it just because I'm so parched after my beautiful slumber, after my beauty sleep. Next thing I'll do is I'll clean my desk, because if you notice, after I wake up and turn my alarm off, I sit at my desk and I do some journaling, which we'll get into in just a second. So set up my clothes, fill my water bottle, clean my desk, and lastly, what I'll do before I go to bed to make sure I'm setting up my morning routine is I'll pack a bag. And that's either my backpack if I'm leaving the house, or my gym bag if I'm going to the gym, or both. So you need to have a good night routine to segue into a great morning routine. So even if you didn't do any of those things I just listed, if you didn't set your clothes out, fill your bottle, pack your bag or whatever, what you need to do every time, and this can't be compromised. You have to do this. You need to start going to bed at the same time every single night, as best as you can. Me personally, I always go to bed at 10 o'clock and I wake up at 5 o'clock. Sometimes it's 10:15, sometimes it's 10:30 if I'm really pushing it, but me 10:30 the latest. It's usually 10 o'clock in bed, in the sheets, no phone, no nothing. It's in the other room, right? I'm here for business, I'm here for bed, okay? So going to bed at the same time, gotta do it. Next thing to have a successful morning routine is to avoid yesterday. Avoid everything that came in the day prior. So I know a lot of you guys are waking up and the first thing you're doing is you're checking your phone, looking for your notifications, checking the news, looking at email, looking at the text messages you might have missed from the previous conversations. Nope. You gotta avoid all of that. My recommendation is when you're going to bed, put your phone outside of your room, put it in the next room. So not only when your alarm goes off, you have to get up out of bed to go turn it off, but you're also not tempted to just be on your phone in your bed. That's not a good look. At least put it across the room. The concept of avoiding yesterday is don't bring yesterday's issues or yesterday's problems, yesterday's work into today. This is today. Be in the present moment, okay? What I do is I'll just not use my phone until I'm completely done with my morning routine. So I'll take my phone to the gym. I'll listen to music on my phone. Sometimes I'll post, me doing some workouts or something on the Instagram story, but I'm not checking my notifications. I'm not responding to texts. I'm not responding to email. I'm not even looking. It doesn't matter to me at that time because this morning routine is about me and it's about checking these things off the list to make sure my day goes as planned. It's important. If you don't prioritize yourself, then nobody will. So you really need to make sure that time is sacred to you. But take a second to notice that the first two components of a successful morning routine are before the morning even really begins. So making sure you're set up the night before and making sure you're avoiding yesterday's problems. This is before you even really get started with the morning routine. So that just goes to show how important those two aspects are. And so we got 3 things left. The next thing, step 3, anchor your morning. And when I say anchor your morning, I really think of it in the literal sense of a ship that is coming from sea into a port and it's docking and they throw out their anchor because they are parked there. They have arrived at their destination. They're ready for the next set of tasks. So that's what you need to do with your morning. You need to throw out that anchor and get yourself parked, stuck in position, and ready to set a new direction. I anchor my morning by journaling. This journal is not something that's profound. I'm not writing some thoughts of billionaire company ideas. It's literally just streams of consciousness that I write in my journal. I have no plans of ever going back to read it. I find that when I'm writing and I just allow myself to write the things that are going on in my mind, I'm kind of greasing the wheels a little bit. We all wake up a little bit groggy. And so this task for me allows me to kind of, wipe some of the dust off my mind from having slept and kind of get my mind going a little bit. So like a little bit of a jump start. So I spend 5 to 10 minutes doing that. If you're not into journaling, you can anchor your morning in a lot of other ways. You can chug a bunch of water. You can do like 10 push-ups, some jumping jacks. You can say affirmations, you can stretch. But whatever you do, it needs to be a task that you associate with waking up. This step number 3, the anchor, is literally the transition from sleeping into your morning routine. Okay, the next thing, getting your body in motion. Just like in the morning, we're groggy with our mind. Sometimes we can be sluggish with our bodies. So you guys already know, I go to the gym in the morning. I'm not recommending that you do. Actually, I kind of am recommending that you do. Exercise is important for everybody. If you can knock out your workout for the day, big boost of confidence. You have just knocked off this big task off your list. Now you can focus on your other priorities. So I would definitely recommend working out in the morning. You don't have to. This could be as little as a couple push-ups or a couple jumping jacks, maybe some high knees, some mountain climbers, whatever. You can stretch for 10 minutes, whatever you have to do, but get that body in motion. And don't just sit down and, say, okay, I'll let my body wake up on its own. Nah, this is an active process. This is not a passive process. So step number 5, and the final component of a successful, consistent, repeatable morning routine is some sort of mindfulness or meditation. And I already know that As soon as I say that, half of you guys are gonna be thinking like, hey, no, this is obviously not for me. You're gonna click out of the video or whatever. But hear me out, seriously. I think a lot of people struggle with meditation. I myself have struggled with meditation. I'm still learning how to do it. I'm still trying to figure out how to be the most successful with it. But let's dispel some myths real quick. People tend to think that meditation is this process where you are becoming enlightened and somehow you have your legs crossed sitting and then you're like levitating over the ground because you now are in this like extra dimensional headspace. It's really not that. Meditation for me is as simple as sitting quietly and setting my timer for 15 to 20 minutes and just sitting there and attempting to clear my mind. So if your meditation sounds the same, where you sit there and try to clear your mind, or you're listening to the guided meditation apps and your mind is just like running like 100 miles an hour, just like back and forth, that's part of the process. You just have to do it. Like that happens to me too. Like my mind will just be running back and forth and I will still sit there for the rest of the time and just try my best to quiet the mind. It's the attempt that matters, because tell you what, you will never be 100% successful at clearing your mind for the whole duration of the meditation. Unless you have been training with monks and you are just a badass like that, it's probably not going to happen. But it's the attempt that counts. It's the journey that is what's most important. So the purpose of meditation is to train your mind so that when you do get off track later in the day, you can more quickly recognize it. And this translates into daily life because we all get distracted, we all have impulses, but meditation allows us to recognize those distractions, recognize those impulses, and so then we can recenter ourselves more gracefully, more readily, more rapidly. So make it a practice. I think that's the best way to describe it. It's not something that you do, but it's something that you practice. That's the formula, that's the process. Make sure you have a good night routine. Make sure you're avoiding checking your phone and bringing yesterday's problems into today. Make sure you anchor your morning so you can have a good transition between waking up and starting your day. Make sure you get that body in motion. I recommend working out. You can dial it up or dial it down however much you want. You can work out for 5 minutes, stretch for 5 minutes, or you can do an hour at the gym like I do. You want to make sure you're incorporating some meditation and mindfulness exercises. Exercise that mind. Allow yourself to recognize distractions so you can recenter yourself more quickly, be more productive during your day. Other than that, that's all I have for you guys. If you guys liked this, if this was helpful for you guys, if you gained some insight or inspired, please hit me with that thumbs up. That'd be super awesome. If you guys have any questions or need some clarification or want me to talk about something else or want me to go into more detail about my workouts or meditation, let me know in the comments or just say hi. I'll say hi back. I'm a friendly dude. But yeah, other than that, thank you guys for joining me. Please subscribe. That would be super duper cool. And I'll see you guys next time.